Hey, welcome to Two Pastors Unplugged. My name is Ezra Ortiz. You may notice that I am not Rick Probst, and usually when you hear my voice, oftentimes it's because Rick is out. But here we've actually got Rick with us. Rick is not only the host of this show, but he's also the associate pastor at Inspire Church. And so you're going to want to check that out. Check out the website there. I've got it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Rick, how's it going, man?
Hey, all right. I'm glad you opened up like that. I'm not Rick Probst. You don't want to be. That's that's the thing.
There can only be one.
Yeah, because one is enough, and you can kind of take that two ways.
Yeah.
One is enough. Thank God they broke the mold. Or hey, one is enough. He's a superhero, and I am in no way a superhero. I don't think that's false humidity or humility. Um, but I just think that's reality. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think Ezra came up with this idea. Let's do and somebody called it a 1 PU.
Yeah.
And I think 2 PU is fine because you never know. I mean, Ezra's going to ask me questions. I'm going to ask. I mean, I've been in ministry for 30, let's see, what is this, 2025? So it's been 36 years. Has it been 36 years?
Wow. Wow.
Something like that.
Wow.
Broadcasting 40 something. But
Yeah.
Ezra has led worship at a few churches, been on staff, and hey, one of these days somebody's going to get him, and he's a gold mine, and it's going to be Pastor Ezra Ortiz leading worship, and it's just going to be amazing. So we thought we would do this, and as I mentioned to Ezra off mic and off video, I've only been interviewed once, and that was a few years back when we had another show, and I had another co-host, and it was a great. But it's weird to be on this end because
Yeah.
and as you can tell, see, I'm talking um, because that's what you do. It's interesting, and let's talk radio a little bit. It's interesting
Yeah.
when I first began, and I went to broadcasting school in Baltimore. The radio is totally different. I mean, it was a
Mm.
mega force, and that's the only place you could get your genre. In fact, some radio stations were not broken up into genres. It wasn't like,
Hmm.
oh, there was always like a country station, a rock station,
Yeah.
a pop
Yeah.
station. But kind of the pop stations were a mixture of, let's say, Jimi Hendrix and the Carpenters.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a mix. That's a mix right
yeah,
there.
and then somebody got the bright idea. Let's make, and there was no talk. I don't think there was talk radio at all. Maybe preachers on the air that you'd hear on a Sunday morning, but or people talking about it. Um, but yeah, and somebody got the bright idea to break radio stations into genres, which
Hmm.
I guess that's okay. And then now we have not only radio, but we have streaming. And I mean, we found out that people stream their music and podcasts on YouTube, and
Hmm.
was that number one? Is that what we found out?
Yeah. Yeah. YouTube is the number one for, I mean, obviously for video content. First of all, YouTube is it's the number one for video, but it's also quickly becoming one of, if not the largest search engine for anything. If you, I mean, think about it, right? If you, so many times I find myself doing this. If I am trying to look up something specific, I go, instead of going to Google or just typing it in the address bar, because a lot of times you can use your address bar as Google.
Yeah,
I'll go to YouTube because I want that visual aid, right? And
yeah,
so I type in their search bar, how to do XYZ, sermon from so and so, right? Or worship song by so and so. So it's, yeah, I mean, so going back to what you said, so it's number one for video. It's quickly becoming the number one for just search engine, period. But it's also becoming the number one preferred way for people to listen to music and podcasts,
Mm.
which podcasts obviously have blown up over the
Yeah.
past few years.
Yeah.
Hence why even this program started off as a podcast. It's because we just recognize. So obviously we're part of Faith Talk Atlanta. That and you were talking about radio stations broken up by genre.
Mhm.
Our flavor of radio is Christian Teach Talk, and we're with Faith Talk Atlanta. But even there, we recognize that you know a lot of people don't do appointment listening anymore.
Right. Right.
They want to have it on demand, and so we stepped into the podcast market that way. And man, we've seen some great success with this show, Two Pastors Unplugged. And going back
I
to what you said before
I
too, I
don't know
think
why. I
well,
have no idea. I
well,
just thought it would be, just, we wanted something different. So here's an
yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Well, okay. And I remember you and I when we first started talking about this show. We were talking about it in our staff meeting. We were bouncing around ideas. We're like, is this something that is even necessary? Or I
Mhm.
don't know. Like just kind of bringing up legitimate concerns. I think one of my concerns was that this podcast would be a little bit too inside baseball. You know what I mean? It'd be too like, hey, we're just talking. I think the term that Val dropped yesterday was navel gazing. And so
And
I
that
think,
shows you how old Val is because,
yeah.
if you're what, like I'm gonna try, and I'm so bad at the what's a Z, what's an X, what's a W, what's a, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, do Gen
There's
Zs
Gen Alpha
know?
now. Yeah.
Is it alpha? Is that
There,
the
the,
next?
the latest one is Alpha, Gen Alpha.
Navel gazing. Yeah, that's what old guys like us say, Val.
So, we were worried that might be, how this format would turn out. But
Mhm.
I have walked away so encouraged by so many episodes that we've done. It's really, really been cool. And so, yeah, we just had the idea that, Rick he is an associate pastor. He's been a lead pastor. He's been a student pastor. And as I just found out before we started recording this, he's also led worship. And then speaking for myself, I've been in the worship in the worship director position. I've been leading worship for about 15 years, I think, like
Yeah.
even while I was still in high school. I it was just it's just always been a big part of church for me, and just life. Um we wanted to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit.
So I
And
let my hair down. See,
yeah, let's
I let
let
my
you.
hair down, and this, if you're watching, this is what you get.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, some say I look a little now like Bigfoot. Um, if you see pictures of Bigfoot, but
There you go.
it's all good.
There you go. So Rick, man, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions and just keep this light, loosey goosey. I just want let's start off with something easy. All right, here's a
All right,
softie.
throw
Here's
me
a
a
soft.
softball.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Funniest ministry story.
Oh, I have one. I don't know. Can I say that on the air? Because I accidentally, I,
You
I,
know,
I
now
accidentally
you have to. Now you have to.
next. Well, I'm going to. Let's see. If I don't have a job after this interview, I probably have a few, but the one that I'm known for
Okay.
was when we pastored on the South Side. Every year we'd have a chili cook-off, and everybody would dress up in their cowboy gear, and they'd make chilies. And it just depends, I guess, where you do this.
Mm.
But you wouldn't think that it would be so huge, but we always had a huge night, and it was a Sunday night. It was not on a Sunday. So
Yeah, yeah,
people had to come back, and usually Sunday nights were not as, not as many people. Uh,
yeah.
still important people. People are valuable, but not
Yeah,
as
yeah,
not as many.
yeah, yeah.
And so we were working on, and we do comedy. We had a character that we would do every year, the littlest cowboy, and I was the littlest cowboy. And I don't know if you've ever seen this done or not, but somebody else is your hands, and
Yeah.
you're behind the stage, and
Yeah.
you have no control over what they're doing,
Yeah.
and so they're picking your nose and stuff, and while you're talking, and so we did it as a lark really in the beginning, and people just loved that. That was the icing on the cake. We always did it at the end. And so one year we had finished the Littlest Cowboy up. We did chili. Chili was always delicious. People loved it. We
Mm,
one year we brought in a country band.
mm,
Um, and then so at the end, I would always thank everybody for showing up and bringing chili, and I would recognize somebody or the people that help with this together, and I would say, "Let's stand up and clap." CLAP.
hmm.
Well, I still have this problem, and my brain goes so much faster than my mouth.
Oh
And,
boy.
and we may have to bleep this, I don't know. But instead of clap, I said crap. Let's all stand up and crap. Well, once you let that out there, you can't get it back.
Nope.
People have
Nope.
heard it. The good news is it wasn't recorded. As far as I know, it wasn't recorded. So that's probably the funniest on me. I have others, but I mean, anytime you deal with people, there's the potential for so so many things, right? Comedy,
Yeah.
tragedy,
Yes. Like the whole gamut. Yeah.
all that.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'll bet we could probably do another show, which we don't need to. We have so many shows now. You could have a show on Pastor, what's your funniest story? And
Oh
you could,
yeah.
you
Oh,
just ask one story or maybe two, or maybe we'll include this on this. Maybe we should do this. We'll do this
there
later
we go.
on. I'll include that.
It's a new segment.
What's
Yeah.
your funniest story?
I love it. Yeah, that's good. I have a similar one. Um, I said something a lot worse than crap. I'll just say, I'll just total accident, but
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
something similar there. I just sometimes you get a little tongue tied
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
just some stuff comes out. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
Hey, and you know what?
mm,
I think everyone does that on a certain level. I think some of us and by no means am I saying I'm a genius, but my brain does run so much faster than my mouth.
yeah, yeah,
That's why sometimes I'll even not so much stutter, but bungle words because my brain is saying in the little window of your mind,
yeah.
you're saying something, but your mouth is going, "Oh, I'm supposed to say that?"
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, 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 that's okay, that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We're here we are on this special edition of Two Pastors Unplugged. We're talking with the host of Two Pastors Unplugged, Rick Probst, who is also the associate pastor at Inspire Church. You can visit myinspirechurch.com to learn more about Inspire Church. And if you go there, and if you go on to go to meet the pastors, you'll find a picture of Rick and his wife Donna back when they were in their 20s. Um, just check that out for yourself. That'll be a treat for you. But um, anyway, okay. Next question that I
Okay.
had. Um,
I told Ezra no deep theological questions because I'm not a deep person.
well, too bad because the next question is
Oh, great.
Calvinism versus Arminianism. No.
I took a course, and I was pastoring at the time. I went to a local Atlanta Bible college and took a
Yeah.
course on historical. What was it called? I always called it hysterical. But it had Wesley, Calvin,
Yeah.
and what's the other guys? He nailed the
Martin Luther.
Martin Luther.
Yeah.
So, and it was, you learned all three, and then you divided up into teams and you debated.
Hmm.
And it was just,
Interesting.
it was an interesting class.
Hmm.
I did not care for, I'm not a debater, so
Yeah.
I didn't care for that part of it.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because you find out, I'm obviously not, and no offense to Calvinists, I'm obviously not a Calvinist.
Hmm.
I think I figured that I lean more Wesleyan because, Wesley morphed into what, Methodism,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and then some of your, which today are non-denominational church, eventually,
Hmm.
I mean, there's been, stuff thrown in, like
Yeah.
cooking something on the stove, got a whole bunch of people throwing stuff in that thing. What's it going to taste like? But
Yeah.
yeah, but it was very, very interesting. I don't know. And I know that's not my question, but
That's okay. That's okay.
I just wonder. And hey, who am I, right? People watching, listening, Ezra yourself.
Hmm.
I understand that there are doctrinal differences,
Yeah.
but here's how simple I am. I was even thinking this morning, because I really feel like that the church has morphed into. I mean, been following Christ only 40. What is it now? 43 years.
Mm.
Not raised in church,
Mm.
and so I didn't really come in with any kind of denominational presets,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I've seen a lot of things through the last 40 years, denominational, non-denominational, crazy denominational,
Yeah.
and experienced a lot of things.
Yeah.
And and where I am now at 65, I think, okay, let's be honest. There are a lot of differences in the body of Christ, and
Hmm.
I think God foreknew that.
Hmm.
I really do.
Yeah.
Yet he still said, "I will build my church."
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that one scripture that stood out this morning to me as I was just I usually try to get away and pray and read the scripture, every morning or most mornings.
Hmm.
And I believe discipleship is really being amped up again, where for so long in the church it was just about people showing up, sitting in a seat, experiencing, worship, listening to
Yep.
a great word,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe a practical word, maybe maybe I love a church that I didn't do this, but if I ever pastored church, I would seriously consider it. And I'm not
Yeah.
thinking about pastoring a church, believe me. But going verse by verse,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of safety, one, in that, and I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of wisdom in it, and I think
Yeah.
you disciple your congregation a little bit better than maybe we have in the last, I don't know, 20 some years. But discipleship is coming back. I s-
Yes.
I see it, and we're involved in it, and it's more than just sitting in a seat. It's really relational, like Acts, what, 2:42,
Hmm.
when they
Hmm.
took the apostles' teaching, they broke bread, they
Yeah.
prayed, they
Yeah.
met the needs of the people. And
Yeah.
so I think that's coming back.
Yes.
It should have never left, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Because I think in in our culture, our society, whatever you want to label it, I
Hmm.
honestly, I think the church got caught up in the I and the me. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
And I think there's still a little bit of that, and I think that's so dangerous because it puts a lot of pressure on the guy who is the in at least those sitting in the congregation, he is the star, and if that star happens to fall,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of pressure, and we've seen a lot of falling over the years, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's all the congregation. I think there are many things into play on this, but I think if we'll get back to, it's not about one guy, except for it's about Jesus, uh,
Hmm.
and discipleship. And this is the scripture. See how long it takes me to answer the question. They will know that you are my disciples, not by your doctrine,
Mm.
not by your
Mhm.
church, large, medium, small,
Yeah.
not by your even your worship team. And I love awesome worship teams. I've been on some. I've enjoyed tons of them. They
Yeah.
rock the Casbah to me and take you take you to a place where you really need to go and worship God. I think
Mhm.
worship is not the number two thing in a service. I think it all works together as making it one. I think, I mean, years ago, I don't know that it was vocalized, but it was almost like, well, you got your worship songs, and then you got the message. Well,
Mhm.
it all works together.
Mhm.
It's not you know,
Yeah.
one in one bowl, one in one plate, and then
Yeah.
it all works together. But they will know that you are my disciples by the way you have love for
Mhm.
another. And
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 13 tells us the love, and Galatians 5:22 talks about the fruits of the spirit:
Yeah.
love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faith,
Self-control.
self-control. Is that 9? Sometimes I leave one
Yeah.
out.
I do too.
And it's
Yeah.
probably the one that I don't want to do, or that I find. But I no, I just forget. That was just a joke, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. But I think that if we will stop hitting each other over the head and
Mhm.
judging one another and loving each other,
Yeah.
and recognizing that there are differences. And you know what? There has always been, is it has or have, there has always been
Yeah.
differences in the body of Christ.
Right.
There will always be differences, but I think that what unifies all of us is Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
resurrected. He is the Son of God.
Yeah.
He will come back. He will call his church,
Mhm.
however we feel like our end time doctrine is.
Mhm.
There's a deep word for that.
Yeah.
What is that called? I don't know, because I'm not.
Eschatology.
Eschatology.
Yeah.
So when you feel like he's coming back, but regardless, what are you going to do if it's wrong and he comes back? What are you going to do? Hey, wait a minute, you got to go back up there until what I believe happens. Well, that's not gonna. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. So I think love,
Yeah.
and love is deeper than love, because love is like I um
Mhm.
I love steak, and I love my wife, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I love the most. But no, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
Uh, no,
Yeah.
but love, I
Yeah.
mean, what is it?
Yeah.
Love is patient and kind and gentle,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
keeps no.
Record of
I
wrong.
think somebody said that, or it was on the marriage thing when I got married. But if
Yeah.
you start digging into that,
Yeah.
that's a lot of sacrifice
It is.
in
It
there,
is.
and that's true discipleship. It's like
Mhm.
record of wrongs. I know I'm going on and on. How
That's no,
many
you're good.
how many
Yeah.
times have and I probably still have a record of wrongs.
Mhm.
And in fact, I know that after 40 years of marriage, you pick up things that maybe weren't resolved properly. And I'm not pointing any finger. I mean, that could be on both of our ends,
Yeah.
right? But if I keep that in my head, or worse, in my heart, it becomes eventually it could become a wall.
Yeah.
And so to keep record of wrongs. And honestly, didn't Paul write, well, we don't need to keep record of wrongs. He's not keeping record of wrongs for us.
Mhm.
If he
Mhm.
did, we would be in deep yogurt.
Yeah. There you
Lady,
go.
lady.
I think, well, first of all, I love that you took that you took my joke of a question. It wasn't even I didn't even have it written down. That was just a joke. I love that you took it in that direction because this is great because how many times, Rick, have you and I over the years have you and I had conversations exactly like this, where we basically just lament kind of what is going on. I think you said it really well, the church has sadly gotten away from discipleship, which is like you say that, and it's like I'm sure no church would ever assent to that being true for them.
Yeah, you're
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yes,
Obviously,
yes,
because
yes.
but it's almost like we've we've pretended like when Jesus said the Great Commission, therefore go into all the world and make tithers of all nations. That's how we treat that's what we treat his word. Is that we treat it like we've just reduced it to asking people to show up,
Yeah.
to tithe, to smile, and that's basically it. And it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, Jesus said you need to count the cost
Yeah.
before you follow me,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always amazed by how it almost seems like Jesus is trying to whittle it down.
Yeah.
He's not into making these big crowds.
Right.
He says things that are just straight up offensive,
Yeah.
to these people, in love, right?
Yeah.
But he's just being brutally honest with these people, and it's all this, like, sovereign whittling down
Yeah.
into this core, because it's like, man, this is the core that's going to take my message out, right? And anyway, when you were talking, I
No,
was
I
thinking
think
too.
I think that's so
Yeah,
well
yeah.
said, and yes, we have. I mean,
Hmm.
you and I have discussed this over the years,
Yeah,
and, and honestly, we're probably from 2 different we're obviously,
yeah,
generational back
yeah,
differences,
yeah.
but we're probably not o orthodoxy of the scripture, but we're
Sure.
probably not the same history maybe,
Hmm.
as far as, movements or churches or denominations.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, so on that, actually, that's a great point. The joke was, Calvinism or Arminianism, right? That was originally kind of what sparked this all off. You said you lean more Arminian. I would say I lean more Calvinism. I don't go 100% all the way there.
Right, right, right.
But you know, I, we have done such a bad job. The church has done such a bad job of thinking that secondary or tertiary things are primary things,
Mm,
and then we kill each other over it.
yeah,
And when you were talking earlier, I was thinking to myself, I was thinking of this scripture. Ephesians 4 says, this is Paul talking to the church in Ephesus. I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager, this is it, eager to maintain the unity
yeah,
of the Spirit in
yeah,
the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called to the one hope that belongs to your call. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. And
wonderful.
so
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, Rick, I mean, you and I, okay, like, just taking this one thing for example, right? We can have these theological, and by the way, it's good for us to talk about these things. It's
yeah,
good for us to have our closely held doctrinal beliefs and
yes,
to discuss them in love and in charity, and to discuss them, and maybe you persuade me to your side, maybe I persuade you to mine, whatever it may be. It's good for those things to happen, iron sharpening iron, right?
yes,
Um but at the end of the day, we are united by Jesus's blood, and we're
yeah,
united by the Spirit.
yeah,
And so, man, that it is just, it's just, and by the way, I have to check my own heart, because frankly, a lot of people in my camp, a lot of people, I would say, in the um, Calvinist, Reformed Baptist camp, are really bad about beating each other up over the head,
yeah,
over doctrinal differences, and to their in their defense, we do need to. There is a we can't let heresy come in. You know
right,
what I mean? We can't let
right,
heresy come in, because that's where things start to go south, right?
yeah,
But we label everything heresy nowadays.
yeah,
I'm saying that to myself. There's sometimes where I'm like, is that actually heresy, or is that just a different, a difference of opinion? And the person on the other end of that is someone who's arguing in good faith. So man, just so key. It is so key to just maintain the unity of the spirit. Listen, I had a lot more questions to ask you, but we're already at 30 minutes.
Wow.
um, we could have kept going. I could have kept going for another 30. Gosh, another hour or so.
Yeah,
But don't
this
want to belabor the point.
yeah, this was fun. And
Yeah.
if you're watching or listening, we thought we'd just do something different. Usually we have, obviously, if you're watching this, listening to it, well, not obviously, maybe this is your first time, but we've been doing this where we sit down with a Metro Atlanta area pastor, and we
Yeah.
don't talk about Calvinism or Luther or being Lutheran or
Yeah.
Armenian, but we just ask questions, and we try to make them. I guess I'm more practical than anything because I
Mm,
was, uh, when I led the church.
mhm,
Um, you learn to be you learn to be practical, um, and I think that if we can use it, I mean, if we give something that can be used, like, hey pastor, what did you do when you faced this situation?
mm,
Like, personally for me, and we don't have time, I mean, but I ended up just having a nervous breakdown. And
mm,
so just carried everything because that's the way I was taught in Bible college and then on staff at churches, that you were the guy. And,
mhm,
people started coming to the church we planted because I was the guy. And
mhm,
so there's so much
mm.
pressure, and my sermon had to be better each week.
Yeah,
And what happens
man.
if you're human and you have a terrible day? I mean, I have, why laugh at this now, but we talked about this the other day. A guy came up to me after he'd been going for a couple of years going to the church, or a year or so, and he came up to me afterward. Which I got to tell you, if you're not a pastor, this is the worst time to say. We sometimes we shouldn't say anything that's on the inside of our head. We should just keep it to ourselves. But like Paul said, speak and build people up.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
sometimes if things need to be said, there is a time and a place and a way to say
yeah.
it. This guy came up to me and said, "Man, your message last week was a lot better than this week." And he meant it. I mean, he meant it. So here you are, and anybody that communicates, whether it's a pastor or a public speaker, or a worship leader, worship player, what would you do if someone said, you would be offended, if somebody said, Ezra, that that last song you did or you wrote, man, that gave me chills. Angel feathers were flying all over the place when you sang that one. But the new one you did, I
Yeah,
felt nothing. It was as dead as dead as you fill in the blank.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so your humanity part, because you've
Mhm.
given it your all,
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe that there's a pastor out there that, and this is probably even stupid just to say, mails it in. I think
yeah,
any pastor, worship leader, worship
yeah,
pastor, person out there that's serving first wants to please God.
yeah,
They love Jesus. And second
yeah.
is they want to build the church. They want to inspire the church. They want to
Mhm.
practically help them to be discipled and walk it out.
Yeah,
And so nobody gives 10% or
yeah,
75%.
yeah,
I just, maybe this is ridiculous what I'm saying, is they give 100%. And then for somebody to come up and say that, it's
yeah,
like, how
yeah,
insensitive can you be?
yeah.
A friend of mine used to be, he's a pastor now, used to be an evangelist, and he would say, this was his line: how dumb can you be and still be breathing? It's like, basically,
Yeah,
how dead can you be and
yeah,
still be
yeah,
breathing? So I don't
yeah,
know how we got what I just said, but
yeah,
let's more than say let's love one another.
yeah.
Maybe Ezra's song that he just wrote and put out there isn't 100% your cup of tea, but you can also say, man, that's an amazing song.
Mm,
Knowing in your head and heart, without saying it,
yeah,
going to be somebody, some people, no matter
yeah.
what the age, going to get ministered to by God.
Mhm.
It's going to
Mhm.
help them, move them forward. And let's leave it at that.
Mm.
Why does my it's almost like I have an agenda or
Mm.
or pride or motive. What's my
Yeah.
motive? If
Yeah.
my motive is to say to make me look better,
Yeah.
and my motive is to say blah blah blah, well, you shouldn't have done that or you could have done this. So what is my motive? Is my motive that, hey, I've got all my stuff together and
Mhm.
I'm trying to put somebody into place?
Mm.
That doesn't build anyone.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anyone. So I think of all, and I didn't always think this way, Ezra. I have morphed into, I am not the man I used to be. Believe me, I was
Yeah.
a little aloof.
Yeah.
Um, but I always, always loved Jesus
Mm.
and always wanted to see his church built, people following him,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
saved.
Yeah.
Like we said, the basics, right? We want to
Yeah.
see people know Jesus and grow
Yeah.
and tell others, you know,
Yeah.
and build the church. So I think it's safe. Anyway, another rabbit trail from a
There you
guy
go.
who uh who not only has been an announcer for 40 some years, but also preached for years. And that's the danger of asking somebody like me a question.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? It's all good. Let's see. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm
I
sorry, I'm
hear
getting a little
there's
bit of a delay now on my end for whatever reason.
yeah,
Um,
it was a little sound like a squirrel chopping on walnuts or something there for a second. So I don't know what's
yeah,
some.
well, hey, let's I think that's probably my cue. That's the music playing me off basically. But but hey, we the whole purpose why we do this podcast is to bless pastors and to encourage pastors and lay people
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
to follow Jesus with all of their hearts. And so um anyway, hey, we appreciate you tuning in for this episode of Two Pastors Unplugged. You can find more on this YouTube channel, on the podcast feed, or if you're listening to the radio, just visit faithtalkatlanta.com. You'll see everything there. We appreciate you. Tune in
Yeah.
next week for another Metro Atlanta pastor. We love you. We appreciate you. Our team is praying for you. And yeah, have a blessed rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
See ya.